In a bold statement that has sparked significant political and diplomatic attention across Europe, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk issued a stern warning to his Hungarian counterpart, Viktor Orbán, over Hungary's stance on Russian sanctions. This warning, posted on the social media platform X, followed tensions within the European Union regarding Hungary's position on the extension of sanctions against Russia, which are a key element of the EU's foreign policy response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Tusk's comments come at a time when EU member states are grappling with difficult decisions about how best to respond to the ongoing conflict and manage relations with Moscow. The political context surrounding Tusk's statement is crucial. Since the start of the war in Ukraine, the European Union has imposed a series of sanctions against Russia aimed at crippling its economy and limiting its ability to continue its military aggression in Ukraine. These sanctions cover a wide range of areas, including trade, finance, energy, and defense, and have been pivotal in the EU's efforts to exert pressure on the Kremlin. However, not all EU member states have been aligned in their approach to the sanctions, with Hungary emerging as one of the most prominent dissenting voices. Hungary, under the leadership of Viktor Orbán, has long maintained a more conciliatory stance toward Russia compared to many other EU countries. Orbán, who has been in power for over a decade, has cultivated a close relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, with whom he shares a pragmatic approach to economic and geopolitical issues. This has included signing energy deals with Russia, particularly in the area of natural gas, and opposing certain EU policies that it perceives as being overly confrontational toward Moscow. Orbán's government has consistently blocked or sought to weaken efforts within the EU to impose further sanctions on Russia, arguing that such measures are damaging to Hungary's economy and energy security. In his post, Tusk made it clear that Hungary's veto on the extension of sanctions against Russia would not go unnoticed. He warned that Hungary would face consequences if it continued to block the sanctions, underscoring the gravity of the situation and the implications for European unity. Tusk's statement is a direct challenge to Orbán's position and represents a broader concern within the European Union about the potential erosion of solidarity in the face of Russian aggression. Tusk's phrasing, calling Orbán's actions part of Putin's team, is a stark and deliberate accusation, one that seeks to paint Orbán as complicit in Russia's actions and thus undermining the EU's collective security interests. The consequences Tusk refers to are not entirely clear, but they suggest that Poland, along with other EU member states that are firmly opposed to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, would seek to isolate Hungary politically within the EU. This could take the form of reduced cooperation on various initiatives, the potential withholding of funds or support for Hungary in key EU decision-making processes, or even a push for disciplinary actions within EU institutions. For a country like Hungary, which relies on EU funding and cooperation for economic and infrastructural development, such isolation could have serious ramifications. The underlying tension between Poland and Hungary on this issue is not new. While both countries have had a long-standing alliance on issues related to European sovereignty, nationalism, and resistance to certain EU policies, their divergent views on Russia have become increasingly apparent. Poland, under Tusk's leadership and his successor Andrzej Duda, has consistently been one of the most vocal critics of Russia's actions, supporting Ukraine and advocating for stronger sanctions and military aid to Kyiv. Poland's stance aligns with the broader European Union consensus, which has sought to support Ukraine in its fight for sovereignty and territorial integrity. In contrast, Hungary's position on Russia has been shaped by a variety of factors, including historical ties between the two countries, Hungary's dependence on Russian energy supplies, and Orbán's own political ideology. Orbán's government has positioned itself as a defender of national sovereignty and has argued that the EU should not overstep its bounds in foreign policy, especially when it comes to relations with Russia. Orbán's refusal to endorse tougher sanctions against Russia has drawn sharp criticism from both the Polish government and other EU member states, who see his actions as a betrayal of the EU's collective interests. Tusk's comments come at a particularly sensitive time for the EU, as it faces growing challenges in maintaining unity in the face of Russia's continued aggression. The EU's response to the war in Ukraine has been one of its most significant foreign policy endeavors in recent memory, and the ongoing sanctions against Russia have been a central part of that strategy. Any fractures within the EU, particularly on such a fundamental issue, could have serious implications not only for the European Union's credibility, but also for its ability to effectively respond to future crises. Tusk, who served as the president of the European Council from 2014 to 2019, has a deep understanding of the importance of EU unity, and his warning to Orbán reflects his belief that the future of Europe is at stake. In addition to the immediate political implications of Tusk's statement, there are broader geopolitical considerations at play. The EU's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been closely watched by other global powers, including the United States, China, and regional actors such as Turkey and the countries of the Middle East. Any sign of division within the EU on the issue of Russia could embolden Moscow and weaken the West's collective resolve in confronting Russian aggression. For countries like Poland, which view Russia as a direct threat to European security, the stakes are particularly high. Tusk's comments are therefore not only a rebuke of Hungary's position, but also a call to action for other EU member states to stand firm in their support for Ukraine and against Russian expansionism. The situation is further complicated by Hungary's position within the broader framework of European politics. Orbán's government has been increasingly at odds with the European Commission over a range of issues, including rule of law concerns, judicial independence, and media freedom. These disputes have led to tensions between Hungary and other EU institutions, with some calling for sanctions or the suspension of Hungary's voting rights within the EU. The current disagreement over Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the extension of sanctions could further isolate Hungary from the rest of the EU and deepen divisions within the Union. Orbán's government has already been subject to criticism from pro-democracy advocates, and his reluctance to fully align with EU policy on Russia may deepen his rift with other European leaders. The political drama unfolding between Poland and Hungary is emblematic of the broader challenges facing the European Union as it navigates the complex geopolitical landscape shaped by Russia's actions. As the conflict in Ukraine continues to unfold, the unity of the EU and its ability to speak with one voice on key foreign policy issues will be crucial to shaping the future of Europe and its relationships with both Russia and the rest of the world.